From Studio 3C in Rockefeller Center, this is News 4 New York.
All right, although you still need to wear a mask when you're riding mass transit here in New York, many transit agencies, ride shares, airports and airlines have dropped the mandate after that recent ruling by a federal judge in Florida. So now that this choice is yours, some of you might be wondering whether to continue wearing your mask or not. So joining us now is Dr. Ayman El-Mohandes, Dean of the CUNY Graduate School of Public Health and Health Policy. Dr. El-Mohandes, thank you for joining us this evening. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Natalie.
Let's start with all this confusion. We know there's been a lot of it. So public transit and planes, who do you think should still be wearing masks?
Well, I think people should now begin to exercise their own caution. And this was going to happen sooner or later. So the way that it happened was abrupt, and maybe it scared people a little bit. But at this point, I think elderly people, people who are immune compromised, and people who have young children at home who are not eligible for the vaccine yet should be extra cautious. I think wearing a mask in crowded places, wearing a mask perhaps at the airport where people are standing by is probably cautious. Airplanes today are probably well ventilated, better so than trains, and trains probably better than buses, and buses better than taxis and Ubers and share rides. So we need to be extra vigilant when we are perhaps in a small car with other people. Make sure if we're sharing rides that we have an honor code, that if people have symptoms, that they should test, and if they're testing positive, they should probably refrain. But generally, I think people who are especially vigilant should be the elderly, should be people who are immune compromised, and people with young children. And remember, we still can get the booster, and many of us haven't yet.
So you talk about that, Dr. El-Mohandes, so you talk about the people most at risk there who are still trying to be cautious. How can they give themselves an added layer of protection when they're surrounded by people unmasked?
Well, number one, get the booster. And if you're eligible for a second booster, get the second booster. Wear the mask yourself. The mask will protect you, although it's primarily meant to prevent the virus from spreading from an infected person, but it will also protect you. At the same time, I think avoid crowds, avoid indoor crowded places as much as you can. These are the things that I think are most important. And if you or anybody around you has symptoms, get tested at home. If you know you're going to have a gathering, everybody should get tested before they come together, especially if we know that there's an elderly person, there are young children, or there are immune compromised people in that gathering.
Yeah, you talk about that honor code. I think that is so important as we're gathering. All right, Dr. Ayman El-Mohandes, Dean of the CUNY Graduate School of Public Health and Health Policy. We do appreciate you joining us once again this evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much.